Hey, did you get the, thing I need for the, video? What?
Analog horror is a very polarizing genre. The concept of it is interesting, and it can lead to great pieces of work, but most of the time it tends to be not very good. Occasionally there is something there that's worth watching, but most if not all the big-name series you see people talking about are just bad. If people like it, that's great. I'm glad you can like something I otherwise don't, but I'm just not a big fan of it for one reason or another. Occasionally there is something that comes out that I want to talk about, that I want to engage with. And wouldn't you know it? It's that time again. Fazbear Toddler Fun is an internet horror series created by the user Agent P-Man1. The description of the series states the following. Fazbear Toddler Fun was one of the two scratch edutainment games made for Fazbear Entertainment back in 1997, as a desperate attempt to bring Freddy Fazbear's Pizza back into relevance. It was thought to be lost media for the longest time until 2005, when an anonymous user recorded a handful of gameplay footage of one of the CD-ROMs. Except, the sentence trails off. These recordings hold something that should not be viewed by the public eye. So we're gonna do just that. Not counting the original upload, which is now unlisted and not canon, the series released its first batch of episodes in 2020 and 2021. Fazbear Toddler Fun Extended Section, and Toddler Fun Safety First Film. Before we continue on with the rest of this topic, I'd like to thank the sponsor for this video.
Spread the word. Papo's coming to town.
What?
Now introducing the Papo Plush. Don't you want a little fella of your own, one that abides by your own very whims with no will of its own? For around 28 USD, you yourself can have the legal ownership of a Papo. Do whatever you want with it. Cook with it. Burn it. Cook with it. You see what I did there? Kill it. Drown it. Smoke with it. Let it dry. Let it edit for you. Put it in a bowl, wide mouth, 32-ounce quart mason jar, lid and pan. I don't care. Do what you want. You have the legal right to do so. If you want a little fella inside your home, go to www.onage.com and buy one today. That's www.ownaj.com. But be quick. If we can't sell enough of them, they will be brought to a landfill and killed one by one so they have room to panic and figure out a way to escape. One that does not exist. We are severely fucked up, but we do it anyways. That's the motto here at Papa Schmappis LLC. Buy the Papo Plush. Buy the Papo Plush. Buy the Papo Plush. Buy the plush. Buy the plush. Buy it.
Bye-bye.
Fazbear Toddler Fun opens up with text on a blue background, a staple of Windows Movie Maker, a now discontinued editing software from the early 2000s. Considering this takes place back in 2005, Movie Maker being the editing software of choice is a nice touch. Said text on screen is our only source of exposition for what's going on. Sorry for not responding to you earlier, but here's my recording for the Fazbear game you recommended to me. Please respond to me as soon as you get this video. I need to know what this is. Whoever is playing this game is doing so for a friend, or because of a friend. Either way, they're here now. As the text fades, the real recording starts. A red splash screen for Fazbear Entertainment appears on screen, copyrighted 1988. Despite how ominous this logo looks, it doesn't seem threatening. Its jingle feeling welcoming and friendly. As soon as it appears, it leaves and is replaced with a loading screen. Before that too disappears. The next screen appears blank with a muted background. Text in the top left reading, "For Joseph." A player comes back with another message, calling this page Henry's message. Before we can see what that message is, the footage is edited to fade to black. Before popping back up at the title screen. For the time being, we don't get to know what that message was, or for that matter, who Joseph was. Here, we learn the actual title of the game. Fazbear's Toddler Fun, The Missing Cake Chase. It's not too long before a player comes back again. I remember playing this for my dad, only a few times. Don't remember much else except that I did some recording for it and tested some stuff too. Our player seems to have more history with this game than they let on. The main menu holds 4 different choices: Play, Games, Movies, and Special. With the special button's text being a different color, I'd assume it's inaccessible for the time being. Our recorder selects Play, and the first part of the game starts. Once more, the player writes a message for their friend. Again, I didn't get to play much of this game, but I'll try to see if I can find what you said was here. Now we have a motive. The player was asked by his friend to play this game in an attempt to find something he thinks is inside the game. He must have known the player has history with Fazbear Entertainment. That, or it's a coincidence he knew at all. As the text fades, our first character shows up, that being Freddy.
Hey there. Welcome to Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, where fantasy and fun come to life. But first, it looks like you're gonna need 2 tickets to enter.
The player's first goal is to get 2 tickets to enter Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. In order to get said tickets, he has to play 2 different games to his right and left, each one involving a different character. He remembers Balloon Boy's game, but not Bonnie's. So, he chooses what he's familiar with, that being the ball pit.
Hey you! Yeah, you! I heard you needed a ticket. I could help you with that. That is, if you know your colors. Match the colors of the balls, and I'll give you 1 ticket. Hee hee hee.
Following Balloon Boy's instructions, the player participates in the game.
Could you help me find the green ball for me, please? Wow! You're smart. Could you help me find the blue ball for me, please?
Until it starts to malfunction. According to the text, the game starts to get buggy after this. I know this game is unfinished, so that's to be expected, but it gets stranger than that. And right on cue, the seams start showing.
You help me.
Balloon Boy's audio cuts off, turning his line from "Can you help me find this colored ball?" to "You help me." Obviously, this could just be an auditory error, but with the next scene, I'm inclined to believe it means something more. Balloon Boy starts crying, his tears being more of a purple color than what is to be expected. Again, this could be nothing more than an error, but there's still room to question. Despite the very apparent glitches, the game still rewards our player with a ticket. With nothing else left to do, he heads over to the other minigame, Bonnie's minigame, marked by balloons. Like before, the background changes, this time to an open field, one reminiscent of the Windows XP background. Bucolic Green Hills, or as it's more well known, Bliss, a photograph taken by photographer Charles O'Rear. This next minigame works relatively the same as Balloon Boy's, working around a kid's ability to recognize colors. Instead of balls, it's the Colored Animal Parade. As Bonnie says,
Hey, didn't you hear? The Colored Animal Parade's coming to town. I heard if you guessed their colors 3 times, you could get a ticket. Well, howdy! I better think fast, here they come. Oh man, the parade's here and I can't find any of my favorite animals. Could you help me find the purple elephant?
our player follows Bonnie's instructions, clicking on a purple elephant.
Wow, that elephant's gotta be, 1, 2, 3 school buses long. Could you help me find... Yellow bear.
As he tries to click on the next animal, the game freaks out and sends our player back to the main menu. Except, something is wrong. Freddy's face is slightly off model, his smile and pupils being larger than before. What was once a friendly face is now starting to look more threatening. And the text. Instead of the name of the game, the missing cake chase being present, all other words are gone. Besides one. Missing. In an attempt to get back on track, our player tries playing the game once again. But instead of, well, anything you'd see in a kid's game, we're left with this.
Do you recognize me? I never left. I saw everything he did because of you. You hurt them. And you're here now. I can show you nice things. All yours. All of it's yours.
Something is blacked out on screen. Something that I can only assume is supposed to be the missing kids. Whoever is speaking to the player is blaming him for whatever the killer did. What William Afton did. During the flashing lights section, a face is barely visible in the black box. As of now, it's hard to say who this is supposed to be, but for the sake of this story, this face is the spirit currently possessing the game. As the screen cuts to black, a face appears on screen. Bonnie's. He stares at the camera for a few moments before fading back into the dark. And the video comes to an end. With the end of the video comes a few questions. First off, who is Joseph? The player doesn't say this message was for me or something similar. He specifically calls it Henry's message. This game, or copy of the game, was made for someone named Joseph. But there's no way to know who this person is yet, so let's put a pin in this for later. The other major question, who is the spirit possessing the game? It's someone the player knows or has a connection with. Someone who is related to the color purple, and someone who went missing, if the messed up text on the main menu is anything to go off of. I immediately want to pin this spirit as the FNAF 4 bite victim, but for all I know, this could be any random child or person for that matter. Episode 1 is a good first part, but it's too short to really gather any major plot beats or story details, only being about 6.5 minutes long. We know why the game is being played, we know what the game is supposed to be, and we know that, despite a cutesy appearance, not everything is what it seems. Hopefully, some of our questions can be answered in the next video.
Bye-bye.
Extended section starts where the last video left off, with a new message from our player. Lance, email me as soon as you get this. Please. We may not know the name of the player, but we know the name of our player's friend. Lance. With both tickets collected, we're now able to see what's inside the pizzeria. Past another loading screen, we have another meeting with Freddy.
Hey, you made it. Great job. I knew you could do it. The gang and I are about to perform our show in an hour. So why don't you get some pizza and play some games while you...
And just like before,
Oh hey, I think I see Foxy coming this way right now.
the game breaks. The 2 times Foxy has been on screen, he is messed up in some way, either being a black outline or beheaded. It makes me think of the minigames from Five Nights at Freddy's 4, with the Foxy plush in the bite victim's bedroom missing a head. I like to believe this holds some importance, but we need more information before we start to make any claims. Once the game is done freaking out, things go back to normal. Like before, the player is met with 3 different options. Each one needs to be beaten before the game can continue. The player decides to go from left to right, starting with Chica's Garden. And as this game is selected, any sense of safety is thrown out the window. The footage cuts back to the pizzeria, with another new message from our player. I had to cut out Chica's game. I'd rather not discuss why. It's too personal. Alright. What's going on? For the sake of this video, I need to break your immersion for a second. Based on what the series will show us later on, I believe, for the most part, each one of these videos are from the perspective of a different person. The description from earlier did say these recordings came from one person, but that's just the recordings themselves, not the people actively recording said footage. Fazbear Toddler Fun is a story revolving around the different masked bullies from Five Nights at Freddy's 4. The person mentioned previously, Lance, was the bully who wore a Bonnie mask. He played the game before the person recording these first 2 videos, and is seemingly out of the picture. He is not responding to emails, and what seems to be an apparition or a metaphor for his passing shows up in the form of a distorted Bonnie face in episode 1. The person playing the game now is the Chica bully. That's why Chica's Garden was too personal to show. It's something that relates specifically to our player, the one that has a connection to the yellow bird. This will come into play later. Let's get back to the actual video. The player gets past the next minigame, Funtide's Makeup Kingdom, and instead selects another one, Space Adventure. Our player enters the next game, starting a conversation with both Chica and Bonnie. Except, I'm going to be skipping this specific minigame, as nothing of note really happens. There's a scare, but it doesn't really impact the story in any real way. So for the sake of pacing, it will be glossed over. Once the player does complete the minigame, they don't get the item needed in order to proceed. Instead, they get another ticket. How odd. Our player selects the carousel, which is labeled as Vaudeville Spin. Now, I'm not entirely sure why it's called a vaudeville. For what I've seen, a vaudeville is a type of theater, a farce with music, but that doesn't make much sense given the context. Regardless, it doesn't matter much. Entering the minigame, the scenery changes, becoming a much grainier image of a carousel, much more lifelike than anything we've seen before. It puts me on edge. Spinning the carousel, it lands on Chica, showing a plush on screen. Our player seems to not remember this game, as text reading, "Why is this game here?" shows up on screen right after the first spin. They're prompted to spin it again, which they do. And again, it lands on Chica. This time, they're rewarded with a ticket. The screen goes black, and we're brought to the pizzeria once more. One last minigame appears, titled Gift Surprise. Text shows up on screen again, reading, This next game looked unfinished and had a different GUI. It still acted really strange though. Once again, the player is prompted with 3 choices: circle, square, and triangle. I can only assume this game was meant to target a kid's ability to recognize shapes. The player chooses a circle, leading to this.
It's only us.
As the player is kicked back to the pizzeria, more text shows up. Lance, please respond to my email soon. I don't know what the fuck is happening, but I'm starting to believe something is really wrong with this game. It's not just the game itself either. I'll tell you more in your email. Please talk. Heading into the final minigame, a set of 2 colors show up. Purple, and then yellow. The same colors as one specific bear. As these colors are picked, the game finally snaps. No, 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 no!
Joseph and the Big Scare. Written by illustrated by Long ago in a blue house lived a small little bear. A bear named Joseph was the bear that lived there. He was friendly and kind, and he had no care. But one thing was certain: he was easy to scare. On his way to school, he would meet a bully named Mitch. Mitch was very, very rude, and he was one heck of a hitch. He would jump out the trees and scare Joseph as a trick. It scared him so bad he ran off into the woods, and quick. Poor Joseph ran and ran. He ran as fast as he could. He was too afraid to look behind, as all small bears should. He wondered if he had outran Mitch, that is, if he even could. But until then, he hid behind a stump that was in the middle of the woods. In the quiet, quiet woods, a nearby sound. You found me, like you always do. But I know it's okay to be afraid. Do you want to remember what I'm afraid of? Let's look together.
With this video, we learn who the spirit inside this game is. It's Joseph. It's the bite victim. The imagery of Foxy without its head, cobbled together with the game cracking under itself at the sheer sight of purple and yellow being mixed together, leaves very little room to question who this kid is. These 2 videos mark the end of the Chica Bullies recordings. Past this point, they're not around anymore. If we've gone through 2 people already, if Joseph is directly targeting the bullies that previously caused his demise, that means we only have 2 more left to go.
Bye-bye.
With the introduction of a new player, means a new playthrough. If there is any doubt in your mind that this is a new person, the number of tickets this person has is 1 digit off from the previous recording. Instead of getting a gift surprise, this player decided to go to Funtide's minigame and found a way to proceed. And right on time, Freddy comes back.
Hey, you found the instruments. Looks like Funtime had all 3 of them all along. Now our show can begin. All we need now is a birthday cake for our special birthday buddy.
Not so fast, you honey-sucking hooligan! Looks like me sister Funtime wasn't the best choice for the hiding job. No matter. I still have one last piece of this mighty scavenger hunt that'll keep you running on your toes all day. Heard you had cake planned for the birthday buddy. Not anymore! Yar-har-har! If you want it back, you better find me at the Pirate Cove and head to the long-lost Adventure Bay. This adventure isn't over just yet! Yar-har!
Just like before, Foxy's head is cut off. Instead of proceeding on with the rest of the game, the player decides to do something unexpected. He stops playing the game, heads to the main menu, and clicks on Movies instead. For the first time, we're seeing something other than the main game. Fazbear Toddler Fun comes with 2 different movies, Fazbear Archives and Safety First. As the title of the video says, he decides to watch Safety First. Except, it's currently unavailable. What seems to be a roadblock lasts not longer than a second before the game acts on its own and brute forces itself into the menu of the film, as our player states in their text. Once the menu loads, it lands on a video titled Stranger Danger, the description of which states the following. Things start to take a strange turn at the park when the kids meet an unusual man who offers them a trip to a place where they can have endless amounts of fun at no price. Barry and Lily decide to give the stranger the benefit of the doubt, but they soon find themselves in a bad spot, and it's up to their friends Simon, Alice, and Tom to save them. With this description comes another, this time about Safety First as a whole. Safety First is a collection of short animated films produced by Funny Flicks for Fazbear Entertainment. Following the adventures of Barry, Simon, Lily, Alice, and Tom, Safety First teaches kids about being careful with their surroundings, and how to follow the basic rules of safety with their peers, and most importantly, themselves. The first short, Stranger Danger, was published in August of 1987. What started out as a singular short film grew popular enough to gain 19 more episodes. 6 of those episodes have been recovered and archived here on Fazbear's Toddler Fun, so that children can continue to learn how to keep themselves out of harm's way. Considering this is a series that takes place in the world of Five Nights at Freddy's, 1987 being listed as a release date is throwing me off. Past a history lesson, the player or the game itself opens up another section, detailing information about the different characters in these shorts. Barry, Simon, Lily, Alice. But before we're shown the last character, a Foxy plush appears on screen. Past that, the final character appears, that being Tom. The image of Foxy seems to be gone. In disbelief, the player flits back and forth between Alice and Tom before leaving the menu. After the exposition finally comes to a halt, the film, Stranger Danger, starts. The player prompts his friend to,
"Please just watch."
So we do just that.
The film you're about to watch reflects upon real-world issues that were in need of warning at its time. The following film contains various implications of child...
Obviously, I'm not going to show you the whole video. That wouldn't do much besides make this video act like a replacement for the original series, which I'm not for. The rest of episode 3 is this film, which itself feels like an homage to Scott Cawthon's old animations. The clay-like models, stiff yet somehow fluid movement, the colors, it works for what it's trying to do. And I think that's pretty cool. Coming up, there are sections we're going to have to let the footage speak for itself, but I highly suggest you check it out for yourself first before you continue watching this video. Agent P-Man deserves your eyes more than I do. Now, with that out of the way, we have a video to watch. The film starts with the kids talking amongst themselves after a long day at school. After discussing the school day and their teacher's constant homework assignments, Barry brings forth a question to the other kids. That question being, what are they going to do with the rest of the day? As they discuss plans, a stranger shows up.
We still need to think of something to do.
Hello, kids. I heard you need something to pass the time.
I find it fascinating how this video is able to make something as simple as a PSA scary. It hasn't even started, I'm already anxious for what's to come. The way the ambiance cuts out as soon as the stranger speaks, his different mic quality making his mere presence feel out of place is wonderfully done. I'm scared of this guy and he hasn't even said more than a sentence. Almost as if he was waiting for this exact moment, the stranger tells the kids something that seems to fit their exact needs.
Oh, hello, stranger. We didn't see you there.
You know, there is a place where children come to have endless amounts of fun. There are games to play, food to eat, and no rules. I can take you there. Wouldn't that be nice?
Unfortunately for him, the kids know better. Or at least, most of them do.
Hey, what's the big deal? This sounds like it'd be fun. You agree, right, Louie?
I don't know. I mean, we don't even know this man, Barry.
My parents told me that you need to be careful with people you don't know. We don't know who they are or where they're from, and you can never be too sure about what they want from you.
Well, he's an adult, so he's kind of like a parent. He introduced himself to us, so we know who he is. He told us to meet him behind the school, so we could be from there. And he just told us he's going to take us somewhere where there's food, games, fun, and...
Excuse me, what's the wait?
Most of the kids are obviously scared of the stranger and don't want anything to do with him. There's no telling what he'll do to them and it's not worth risking their lives for fun and games. Barry, however, is an extremely trusting person, which may lead to unforeseen consequences later down the line.
Yeah, we're in.
Barry!
Great choice. Meet me behind the school tonight, and don't tell your parents where you're going. They'd hate to know how much candy you'll be eating.
The scene cuts to later that night, with Barry watching TV while waiting for his friends to arrive, which they soon do.
Hey, you guys made it. Ready to go?
Unfortunately, yeah.
I can't believe I'm sneaking away from my parents like this. They're gonna be worried sick.
If I were them, I'd be the happiest I've ever been in 13 years.
This just doesn't feel right. Something's off about this.
I'd rather go back to having parties at school than being involved with whatever this is. And I hate school.
Let's just give it a try, okay? Maybe if we don't have fun, we could just go home.
I guess so, man.
Maybe we can keep our cell phones with us just in case something happens?
And I know from experience when I tell you all, do not eat the green sandwiches.
We'll remember to be careful. Now come on.
Right after that scene, text appears in the top right of the screen. It's cut off halfway, so it's hard to really tell what it's supposed to be, but based on what this video is going to represent, I'm inclined to believe it says, "Your new home." But I could be wrong. The kids arrive behind the school, where an alley awaits them. To their surprise, no one else is there. They must be early. They assume the man is waiting inside for them, so the kids decide who is going to go in first. And as they do...
So, ready for the best night ever?
I can't do this.
Oh, thank goodness you agree with me.
I think I'm gonna stay out of this one too.
What? But what about...
I'm sorry, Barry. I'm too scared to do this. It's dangerous.
Well, you'll still go with me, right, Louie?
You can't be serious. You're gonna get hurt.
I know you guys are better than this. I think I can speak for the majority when I say I don't want to get caught up in this mess. We're leaving.
Don't say we didn't warn you.
Don't listen to them, Lily. Can't be as bad as they think.
The kids with common sense flee the scene, leaving Barry and Lily as the only two willing to head inside. Despite everything around the two warning them not to listen to a stranger they've never met, they proceed.
Huh. I guess we're a little bit earlier than everyone else. Say, you don't think I pressured them too much, do you, Lily? I hope not. I just wanted to have a good time with them, but they ignored the man's offer. Sure, he was acting a little weird, and maybe his promise was a bit misleading.
Barry?
But he can't have been that bad, right?
Barry?
I mean, he didn't seem so bad to me, and I am a pretty trusting kid. Ah! Well, I can't answer you now, Lily. I lost my hearing. Stranger! Forget everything I said. So, where's the party?
Kids really aren't that smart, are they?
Huh?
There is no party, you idiots. But either way, you're not going anywhere. Shame I couldn't get the rest of those brats to come, but you two will do perfectly.
What's going on? What are you gonna do with us?
That's something you're gonna have to find out. Now don't you kids even think about trying to get out. You're gonna regret it if you do.
Lily, our friends were right. This was a trick. What are we gonna do? Wait.
Two local children were reportedly lured into a back room during the late hours of operation at Freddy Fazbear's Pizza on the night of June 26. While video surveillance identified the man responsible and led to his capture the following morning, the children themselves were never found and are presumed dead. Police think that the suspect dressed as a mascot to earn the children. Safety First was made in response to the missing children's incident from 1985, 2 years before this short was made. What started out as a tragedy that would never be solved turned into a kid's PSA for stranger danger. An event that took the lives of two innocent children was turned into a cartoon. Even in death, Fazbear Entertainment continues to use murder to fuel their pockets, instead of dealing with the problem head on. As the PSA seemingly comes to an end, Joseph starts taking more drastic measures, warping its surroundings, so as to talk to the player more directly.
We've been watching you for a long time, Michael. We saw so much. I could have done something, but I was scared. I didn't want to be trapped too. I did nothing. I let them die. That's why I'm here. Or you, Michael. You took my life away. You ruined our family. And I won't stop reminding you until you truly understand. Even if it means you'll never sleep again.
It's not letting me stop.
We moved on from the Bonnie bully, to the Chica bully, and now, finally, Michael. Instead of playing the game on his own volition, the game is controlling itself, showing more animosity towards Michael than the other two, as he is the reason the bite victim died, and in his eyes, Michael is the reason their father, William Afton, started killing, which was the purpose of this video. Joseph wanted to show Michael exactly what his actions cost, using the PSA as visuals for his message. Now that Michael knows what his actions caused, Joseph will not rest until he finishes the game. And for the last 3 years, this screen, this image, this was it. Since 2021, these 3 videos were all Fazbear Toddler Fun had to offer. And if that was still the case, I would be fine. The original video served as a good stepping stone for the series. An extended section in Safety First Film only improved on the quality it already had. But, in August of this year, a new video was made, labeled as Untitled Video, a 49-minute finale to Fazbear Toddler Fun, one with the most content, the most production value, and some of the best horror I've seen in an analog horror piece to date. I've already said this previously, but I highly recommend and encourage you to watch this beforehand, and then come back to this video. It is a wonderfully made video and series. You have 5 seconds. For those of you returning, or for those of you who've already seen it, let us finally finish Fazbear Toddler Fun. The start of Untitled Video is very reminiscent to the first episode of Fazbear Toddler Fun, starting with more text on a blue background. But instead of being from the Chica bully, this time, it comes from Michael.
It's been 3 weeks since I last played the game. I haven't been able to sleep since then. I've been seeing things. Demons. Figures that move when you stare and are gone when you blink. And every morning after these attacks, I wake up with marks on my body. Last night, these scratched my legs. It feels like they're trying to drag me with them. I'm dizzy, I'm confused, but I keep getting sucked back into playing. He still haven't got back to me. Jared isn't responding to my calls either. He sent you this game too, right? Did he get the shit I've been getting? Please respond to my emails, Lance. You haven't been reading them.
What Joseph said to Michael in the previous video was not empty threats. As opposed to FNAF 4, where the nightmares are actively trying to harm the bite victim, in this universe, the bite victim seemingly has control over the nightmares, or a version of them, which he uses to directly harm and kill the bullies from FNAF 4, while being restricted to the confines of the game. We already know the name of the Bonnie bully, that being Lance, but here we finally learn the name of the previous player, the Chica bully, Jared. I consider this, as well as something else we'll see later on, to be proof that both Lance and Jared are dead. Michael reopens Fazbear Toddler Fun. Same splash screen, same message to Joseph, same main menu. Except, for a few frames before the main menu appears on screen, the full message to Joseph is visible for the first time in 4 videos.
For Joseph. Fazbear Entertainment dedicates this game in memory of its co-founder's delightful son, Joseph Afton. Joseph was a caring, well-meaning child who meant so much to us here at Fazbear Entertainment. He was taken from us too soon, but the memories he left behind will bless us for eternity. May you and your sister be reunited together beyond the clouds for an eternity of peace and tranquility. Henry Emily, Fazbear Entertainment.
Joseph was already dead by the time this game was made. This game was not made for Joseph. This game was made in memory of Joseph. And because of this, somehow, Joseph has found his way inside the game as a way to end his unfinished business. Hi, sorry for breaking your immersion again, but I just need to let you know something. The session coming up is going to sound a lot different. I've been working on this video for so long to the point I switched my microphone 3 different times. I've gone from a Yeti Nano, to a regular Yeti, to now the microphone I'm currently using. The latter portion of this video is done with the Yeti microphone, but this part right now is done with this new microphone. They sound a lot different, so I thought it'd be better to tell you directly before you're slapped in the face with the change in audio. Hopefully it's not too jarring, and hopefully you enjoy the rest of the video. Right back to where we left off last time. An open field, with only one option to choose from. That one being the Cove.
There you are, friend. Welcome to Pirate Cove. I'd sure love to sit back and play around at the beach right about now, but first things first. We gotta find Foxy and the birthday cake.
Looking for someone, Fazbear? Yar har har! About time you willy stomper showed up.
Game over, Foxy. We need to get back to our show soon. Please hand over the cake.
But what fun would that be? You just got here after all. Let's make things a little more adventurous.
Just like before, Foxy's sprites are corrupted, somehow being even more worse for wear than last time. Every time Foxy has even slightly been on screen, he's been deformed. This time around, the corruption has gone for the sprite simply cutting in and out, to his head cut off, and now, whatever this is. Michael starts his hunt for the pieces of the map. Currently, there's only one option available, so with no other choice, Michael goes where he's told, that being the first minigame, in the Cove. What happens in this next minigame is confusing. The task before the player is simple, but the game is in even more disrepair since the last time Michael played. It's collapsing under itself, yet just stable enough to continue playing. This will be the last time this will happen, but I'm going to skip this minigame. Just like Space Adventure in the second video, nothing of note really happens. What does happen, has happened before, and will continue to occur for the rest of the video. Despite that, Michael completes this minigame, and the first piece of the map to Adventure Bay has been found. Another ticket just so happened to be in the sand as well, so now Michael has access to the next minigame, which he heads to, without a moment to spare.
Why, hello. I heard you're looking for a piece of the map, so I thought I could help.
Chica's voice is clipping in and out. The scenery is nice, but there's definitely something going on. And despite everything being the way it is, For the most part, things appear to be normal, minus the UI glitching in and out. Until Foxy once again shows up. This time, taking the form of his previously missing head, appearing more as a plush or a mask. Honestly, I'm not sure, but given the context of everything else we've seen so far, I think it being interpreted as either of these works to what it's trying to convey to Michael. Speaking of Michael, he ignores it being on screen in the first place, rightfully disinterested in whatever scare the game is desperately trying to throw out. Beating the minigame, Michael receives both the next map piece and a ticket, and gets sent back to the hub world. Proceeding further, Michael selects the next minigame, Circus Party, a far cry from the more beach-like aesthetic we've seen so far. He can't proceed. Michael tries repeatedly pressing on the minigame to no avail. As he tries to continue, a sound can be heard from behind. It's hard to say what this sound is, but it sounds to me like the groaning from the first Five Nights at Freddy's game. Take a listen. If you played FNAF 1, which most of you probably have, you know this isn't a good sign for Michael.
Well, howdy! Glad I was able to find you. I was gonna look for you, I promise. But I got a little distracted. Nobody told me the circus was coming to town. But good news. While I was here, look what I found. That's right. It's one of those map pieces you're looking for. Sorry I couldn't give it to you sooner, but look at this place. There's all kinds of fun going around here. They've got elephants, they've got magic tricks, they've got balloons, they've got peanuts, they've got clowns, they've got... clouds? Ah! Clouds! And they stole our map piece! Gosh, I wish I could get it back, but to tell you the truth, I'm afraid of clowns. You're gonna have to teach those clowns what's right, little buddy. Get in on their act and get our prize back.
This minigame actually looks fun. It looks more interactive and like an actual minigame than stuff we've seen previously. Michael might actually be able to have some fun. Shouldn't be too hard, right? Well, Michael, for whatever reason, doesn't play the game. Outright stops. No movement. Either he's gone tired of dealing with the game's machinations, or the clowns mean something deeper to him. I'm not one to pick and prod at things I do not or should not be involved with, so we'll drop this for now. The game, after a brief period of time, starts communicating with Mike.
Stop it. You know why you deserve it.
As these words are spoken, the surrounding game elements start having a meltdown. Joseph is growing more angry towards Michael. Him not playing the game is going directly against everything Joseph set out to achieve. So, he looks for more drastic measures to get him to play along. Starting with a timer.
Not so scary after all.
despite Michael's efforts to escape the game. It proceeds, acting as if he beat the game on his own. Joseph does not want Michael leaving, and he will do everything in his power to make sure Michael sees this to the end.
Hey there, I'm happy to see you. I was exploring this jungle in hopes of finding one of the map pieces to Adventure Bay. I have a feeling we might find something just beyond this path. Follow me. Look, it's another piece of the map. Hooray, we found it.
Yo-ho-ho!
The next and hopefully final map piece is stolen by a new character, a very eccentric personality by the name of Captain Snagglepuss, which seems to be an original character for this game. In order to get the map piece, Michael must win against Snagglepuss in a few rounds of the shell game.
Before ye stands me 3 cups and the treasure. When I put them down, pay close attention to the cup that hides the treasure. I'll move them around so quickly that you'll never be able to remember the correct cup. Yo-ho-ho-ho!
For this game, we'll need to pay close attention. Watch the cup with the map piece carefully as the cups are moved around.
Good luck, swashbucklers. Just kidding! Yo-ho-ho-ho-ho! Hope you were paying attention. Now make your...
Starts acting up.
Don't give up, birthday buddy. To beat Captain Snagglepuss's game, you'll need to remember where... Remember...
With the game in a state of complete disrepair, Michael tries something he hasn't touched before, that being games. And in doing so, opens a seemingly endless rabbit hole, one that Michael is a core part of. Welcome to Fazbear's Art Studio. This is an entire other game hidden away inside of Fazbear Toddler Fun. It's a different art style, and a different type of game. It feels like everything we've seen so far has been flipped on its head, As opposed to Fazbear Toddler Fun, the main menu feels more welcoming. It feels like nothing could really go wrong. But, as we've seen before, in Fazbear Toddler Fun, a friendly face does not exist. Entering the game, something entirely new shows up. That being 3D.
Hey, you made it just in time to my brand new art studio. But Freddy, what on Glory's green earth is an art studio, you ask? Well, here, you can create anything you want to. Whether that's drawing a new member of the Fazbear Band, creating a rocking new hit solo, or even directing a hilarious story with me and the gang. The possibilities are endless. Take a look around the place and let your imaginations go wild. Well, I best not hold you any longer. Have at it, Rockstar. And you know where to go if you're craving some deliciously fresh pizza.
Once Freddy is done talking, he leaves Michael to his own devices. In a choice between the three options available, he chooses what's directly in front of him. That being... For the first time, Michael has a way to directly interact with Joseph. He can write words down on this canvas. Maybe Joseph wanted to bring him here. Michael tries writing the word hello. No response. In turn, Michael tries leaving, which causes the home button to disappear. After a few moments, purple tears start flowing down the page, almost in the same vein as Balloon Boy from all that time ago. Joseph has caught up to Michael. Michael decides to check out another art-based activity, located to his right. This one seems to be a coloring book. Michael flips through the different pages, marveling at the artwork. That, or he's just waiting for it to glitch out, which he finds in droves. Some of the art is already colored in, seemingly being worked on in real time behind the scenes. And on one specific drawing, Foxy's head is blacked out. Again. Michael flips through the pages again, and lands back on Foxy, who appears to be gone, outright removed from the picture. It only takes a few more moments for Joseph to strike.
Welcome to the Make a Thing studio. Select one of the stories below, and later on, you'll be able to draw something into the story that one of us will interact with. Doesn't that sound cool? Sure makes me hungry, though. Maybe I'll draw myself some pizza.
Like most things, there's a cartoon for each band member. Freddy, Bonnie, Chica. But, again, as it's happened over and over again, Foxy is nowhere to be seen. He has to have his own cartoon, right? He's a core part of the band, after all. Looking past that, Michael selects Freddy's cartoon. This cartoon acts mostly normal, nothing out of the ordinary.
Whoa. Hey there, friend. You from around here? Oh, cool. What? What? Hey! space blaster. Help me neutralize the giant robot! Throw me my handy space blaster so I can defend myself!
Michael attempts to follow the game's instructions, but right as he's about to draw Freddy's blaster, he stops, instead deciding to proceed without drawing anything, which makes Joseph very angry. I was right. Foxy does in fact have a cartoon, although we only see one scene. Nothing more. As his laugh continues repeating, text shows up at the bottom of the screen, reading,
"You didn't save him. No one did."
This text with a large, towering robot on screen leaves little room to imagine what it's trying to portray. Entering the game, Funtime shows up on screen, devoid of any voice acting or noise. The game seemingly skips past them and brings Michael almost immediately to the main event, that being this music creation thing. This is a shot in the dark, but I think this is supposed to represent a car. Specifically, the car from Midnight Motorist. I'm not going to go into any detail about this as I'm genuinely lost for words on what this is supposed to be, if anything at all. Michael tries playing some music. Emphasis on trying, he isn't really getting anywhere. Everything seems rather normal. That is until Michael selects the buttons on the top of the model.
Gabriel.
The names Susie and Gabriel are heard. These 5 buttons seemingly being the names of William Afton's victims. Michael, having a direct connection to the aubergine fellow, immediately leaves the activity, more than likely shaken up by what just happened. As he heads back to the art studio, the power goes out.
Uh-oh, looks like the power went out. I thought we were good until next month. Let's see here. Mama! 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 Looks like we'll need to turn the power on another way. Want to tag along? It's a bit dark in here.
Instead of playing along, Michael says no. He's done entertaining Joseph. Almost in an attempt to mock Michael, the game starts playing the names of the missing children.
Susie. Fred. Gabriel. Jeremy.
And as he enters the final activity,
Cassidy.
Ho-ho! Ahoy there! And welcome to Fazbear's Filmmaker, where fantasy and fun truly does come to life. Choose whichever characters you wish to partake in a mighty and tremendous new tale. Just don't be
for the first time, Foxy is actually normal. He was normal earlier, but seeing that cartoon wasn't intended. This is fully intended, and it actually works as it's supposed to. It's honestly pretty nice being able to see Foxy up and about after— wait. Hang on. Run that back. Bullseye. This is a nightmare. These are nightmares. Nothing we've seen in this episode, or in the series for that matter, has actually happened. This isn't the game glitching out or being manipulated. It's Joseph using the nightmares to create illusions. The mask only slits for a short period of time, but when it does, you can tell. And seemingly, Joseph's attempts at tormenting Michael are making it easier to spot. It's backfiring. The illusion is fading. Or, if we want to take this down the more sinister route, Joseph is leaning on the illusion less and less as Michael is approaching the end. Regardless, we know, finally, this game, what these people have experienced, everything within these videos, are not real. Once Michael regains control, he looks through what's available in the Fazbear Filmmaker, and almost immediately, there's something out of place. One of the locations, instead of being a set right out of a cartoon, is Joseph's bedroom. Seemingly, it draws its attention to Michael as he selects it. Instead of choosing any of the animatronics, Michael scrolls through the characters before deciding to choose one of the kids. And as he does,
My First Film by Joseph Afton. It was like any other day, alone with my thoughts. I am afraid to go out because you always picked on me. Today wasn't any different. I never had real friends, just people who stuck around because they were told to. I could see it in the way they talked to me, the way they all talked to me. Nobody really cared about me. I don't understand, Michael. You knew I loved you so much. You knew I didn't want to go. Why did you let them antagonize me? I'm afraid, Michael. I don't want to go. Please don't make me go. I cried and I cried. As tears went down my cheek, you had yours turned. You could have done something.
Two little kittens, one stormy night.
thought that I should have forgiven you. But you decided to hide me away. You proved me wrong once again. You hated the thought of me that much. I still remember that final voice.
Can you hear me? I don't know if you can hear me. I'm sorry.
But it meant nothing. I was starting to blame myself for a lot of what happened after. I thought I was too afraid. I thought I should have done something more. But now, I know. That wasn't fair, wasn't. It was you who let me die and ruined our family. You never loved me back. All you did was lie to me. It was all your fault. They're not really here. I know that. But I think they never let this go. I know you haven't, either. That's why you still come back. Even when you're not here, I'm still with you at night. They're still with you at night.
After all this time, after everything Michael has been through, we are at the final thing left inside this game. The same thing we saw back at the beginning of the series. Special.
Surprise!
Congratulations, birthday buddy. You succeeded in helping us get our cake back and performing our show on time. I knew you wouldn't let us down.
You sure did us a great favor, pal. You're welcome at Freddy's anytime you'd like.
Great work.
Say, when are we gonna dig into that delicious cake?
Fun time's starving.
Me too. No, me the most.
One moment, guys. Before we dig in, I think our birthday buddy deserves that big birthday prize. Smile.
Michael is dead. He's been dead since we started watching these videos. He's gone. Everyone is gone. Despite this, our new player reopens the game, and almost immediately, something is different. What was once a message to the deceased Joseph has become a welcome sign for our new player. The text now reads,
"Hello, Peter."
Once at the main menu, the cursor frantically selects Movies, and then Fazbear Archives, the other video we haven't seen yet, where one of my personal favorite tropes show up, that being Rankin Bass stop motion.
And you remember how we rehearsed it, right, nephew? You sure did. Good. Now to focus on that stage fright of yours.
But Uncle Fredbear, how's a big fat scaredy cat like myself gonna get over some stage fright? I'm like a cock without the cloth.
Hey now, there's a fighting words where I'm from. Now don't beat yourself up, kid. Listen, during those 5 minutes before our first show, I had so many butterflies in my stomach that it tasted like a spring picnic on the inside. But it only took a song and a dance with my bunny buddy, Bunny Bill, and what do you know it? They all loved us. You just gotta give it your all on stage, ready? And in no time,
I'll be the next best bear in the business?
better than all the bears that came before.
Well, maybe you're right. Thanks, Uncle Fredbear. You're the smartest animal I know. I guess if I want my first show to stick the landing, I ought to show them all what me and the gang are made of.
Hey, that's my nephew. Now there's a couple of minutes left before our show starts. Finally got the guts to bring praise to the Fazbear name.
Oh boy, do I. But I'll be honest, I don't think I could ever have the guts you have, Uncle Fredbear.
What, because I taught you everything you know?
Because I have a proper diet. Well, sure. I guess that too.
No, I'm telling you, I get a respect around here.
Come on, fellas. The show starts in 1 minute.
Leave it to the Fazbears to be late for everything.
Come on, Foxy, be nice. We're ready when you are, boys.
We're on our way.
They all came before. That's leper. 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 They all came before.
Finally, we made it to Special. Peter selects the photo album, where we finally see what happened to those that came before. Everyone before Michael met the same fate as him, Lance and Jared, breaking the silence.
Ready for another adventure?
Peter joins them in fate. Joseph got what he wanted, what he deserved. Those that wronged him met their end at his own hands. And this marks the end of Fazbear Toddler Fun. This universe only encapsulates the first 4 FNAF games. It starts and ends with the bite victim. There is no remnant, there are no funtime animatronics. FNAF 6 in its entirety does not happen. Joseph takes out Michael and the rest of his friends one by one before coming to an eternal rest. There isn't really anything to theorize here, as the story is pretty cut and dry. Everything you need in order to understand this series shows up in the videos, for the first time in a while. And to be honest, I like that. Obviously, I'm a fan of theorizing, but sometimes you want a clear-cut story. And that is what it is. Fazbear Toddler Fun is one of the only FNAF internet series to really scare me. It is a wonderful series. Untitled Video is one of the best pieces of work I've seen from this community. I highly recommend you check out the creator and subscribe to his channel. If this video is any indication of what's to come, it's gonna be worth sticking around to see what he does next. Like the previous time I made a video like this, I tried to get in contact with the creator of the series, Agent P-Man 1. Considering the stories contained in the videos, I wanted to learn a little bit about production. So, that's what happened. This marks the end of my video on Fazbear Toddler Fun. The rest of this video is a written interview with the creator of the series. I hope you enjoy.
FTF was actually inspired off of one video I came across on Twitter back in 2019. It was gameplay of this crusty, cheap-looking SpongeBob game that I really liked the vibe of for whatever reason. Eventually FNAF came to mind as well as FNAF VHS, which got popular around the time. So I then came up with the idea of a FNAF VHS series, but in the style of that crusty SpongeBob GBA video. It eventually became more 90s PC game inspired as the series developed, but that's how the general idea started. The whole series was actually made through editing. From videos 1 to 3 I was using Windows Movie Maker, and had to create every frame manually through programs like Paint.net, with a bit of SFM and Blender sprinkled in more often later on. For video 4, I started using OpenToonz, Blender, and Wondershare to animate and edit everything together. Starting with the FTF1 remake, there was a set idea for the story that throughout work on the series we tried to improve, rework, and experiment with, up until video 4, where I think we finally understood what we ultimately wanted. Basically, it wasn't all set in stone from the beginning, but there was a story that we wanted to tell since the start. Gotta give a massive thanks to AK_Kaiju for helping me flesh it out. When we were planning episode 4, we took another look at the whole series and figured out how we should keep the story simple and easier to understand. We spent months going over and redoing episode 4's script so that not just the video story could make more sense, but so that it can help make the rest of the series make sense when watching it through. He managed to pull it off fantastically. Episode 4 definitely took the longest in terms of video production for sure. In terms of scenes, I want to say maybe the Fazbear Art Studio section of FTF4, due to the planning and generally trying to figure out what to have in there throughout making it, as well as finalizing of course. In terms of my favorite part of the series to make, I think it might have been making Safety first. We had a fun time making and writing the characters, and to this day we still want to do more with them someday. If there's one thing I could say, as cliché as it sounds, is to not take feedback to heart. I remember when I saw my first it was and semi-thinking it was the end of the world. It might take a good while before you properly develop your vision the way you want it. Don't be afraid to share what you come up with, and hear from viewers what works best with your project and what doesn't. The more feedback, the better. Don't be afraid to work with a team of trusted people too. This series might never have gotten where it is if it weren't for the incredible team of people I got to work with to help shape it up. And if there's one last thing I can add, don't hesitate to go all out with your project. If you have a certain vision for it, go all the way. Even if it takes weeks, months, years. The best projects in my opinion are the ones that really show off the passion from the people behind them. Make your series something you can look back on years later and still be proud of.
Bye.